So you already took the first step towards escaping chudism, and that is to realize that you need to change, fix your life up. Now, the second step towards this is to visualize your new self. So visualize yourself being ripped, being more extroverted, better looking, all these things, right? Visualize it and make yourself believe it. Make yourself believe that can actually be you. Because if you believe that you're not worthy or you can't be like the person you want to be in the future, you're never going to get there. Now, the third step is to make slow adjustments. I'm going to tell you what you need to fix in your life, but if you add all these things at the same time, if you start hitting the gym and getting good sleep and optimizing testosterone, eating super healthy, being outgoing, all at the same time, you're going to quit very shortly after starting. So you have to make slow adjustments. You have to progressively overload on these things I'm going to teach you, because that makes it easier and more sustainable. So I'd recommend to add 1 or 2 habits every 2-ish weeks. Now, the fourth step to fixing up your life is to be aware of the downsides, the problems with the bad things you're doing. Be aware of the problems with horrible sleep, eating junk food, watching porn, all these things. And also be aware of the benefits of the habits you want to add. You know, watch some videos, be like, holy crap, the gym really does make a huge difference to your life. Testosterone makes a huge, massive difference. Getting 9 hours of sleep, dude, that can make you grow way more. Be aware of the benefits and the downsides of what you want to add to your life and get rid of, so you're more motivated to do so. Now, you also want to change your environment. What this means is, you know, last year I used to have my room was set up in a different way. And this was when I started to, you know, lock in, get into self-improvement and go harder on the gym, right? You change your environment. You should always do this. If you're truly serious about changing your life, then, and if you're over 18, I'd recommend, if it's possible, to maybe even go rent a apartment or live somewhere else if you can. But for most people, that's kind of impractical. But maybe switch up your room's layout, stuff like that, right? Or start wearing something to remind you that you're a kind of like a new person, almost trying to improve your life. So maybe buy like a cool chain or like a ring or whatever, right? And also, this is really important, it's to remove any triggers, right? So if you get triggered to eat sugar, get rid of the triggering things. If you have I remember my cousin, she had in her room, she had an entire drawer full of candy. This was a few years ago, right? Like 3 years ago. An entire drawer like this big full of candy. Back then I was a chud, so I was like, oh, this is sick, I love candy. But nowadays that's extremely, extremely foolish to do. Remove any triggers like that, like a drawer full of candy. Remove the TV in your bedroom. If you're starting out on NoFap, get rid of any screens in your room. All these things you can do. But if you have a couch in your room, get rid of the comfy couch so you don't sit there and scroll all day. Now I told you how to actually do the things I'm telling you to. Now I'm going to tell you what things you should actually do. I won't explain why you should do these things because it's a ton of things, and so the video is not like an hour long. Right? So I used to be a chud, but in the past 1.5 years, I was able to improve my physique, my looks a little bit, my personality, my habits in general, athleticism, sleep, diet, testosterone, extrovertedness, NoFap, all these things. So there's obviously 2 sides to this journey. There's the things you want to get rid of and the things you want to add. Now, before you try to get rid of the bad habits, like scrolling or smoking, you have to add positive habits like the gym, proper sleep, hanging out with good friends, eating clean, all these things. Because right now, let's say you're a blank piece of paper and you have these little ugly words, right? Like say scrolling, smoking, alcohol, right? Throughout the paper. And you want to erase them, but it's going to be hard to erase them because you're going to have so much space in the paper that they're going to come back anyways, right? I don't know if you can see where I'm going with this. But if you fill up the paper with all these things, other healthy things like the gym, watching good self-improvement people, learning, reading, sleeping well, all these things, you fill up the paper so it's like crowded with all these healthy things, and you try to erase the bad things, it's harder for the bad things to come back because the good things are taking up so much space. Okay? So let's start off with sleep. This is what I recommend to be the first thing you fix before the gym, before everything, because if you're not feeling well, you can't go to the gym. If you're feeling exhausted, it's going to be harder for you to go to the gym. So get 8.5 to 10 hours in bed per day, a warm shower before bed, so your internal core temperature lowers, so you sleep better because you want your internal core temperature to be as low as possible. Take magnesium glycinate before bed. That's what I do. Try to have a cool body temperature, right? No screens 1 hour before bed. If you have to go on your screens, put them on grayscale. Go to bed at the same time consistently within 5 to 10 minutes of that time frame, and also wake up at the same time. You can do stuff before going to bed, but make sure it's really chill activities like reading, stretching, praying, meditating. Maybe you can go for a walk outside. Also, I'd recommend watching the sunset and the sunrise. It resets your circadian rhythm, and it's actually really beautiful, really relaxing, and it's extremely good for your mental health. Put your phone on grayscale, obviously, and you also want to have dim low lights. I have a light right there in my room. I don't use that at night. I use this light right here. So you want dim underhead lights or low lights, because the tall, big lights on top above your head kind of simulate the sun, and that wakes you up. Don't eat, obviously, 1 hour before bed. You want to have a cool, fresh, cold room to sleep better, and also use mouth tape. Mouth tape is pretty cheap. I'd recommend you use microfiber tape like that surgeons use. Now we're going to talk about your the gym physique, your athleticism. You want to be strong, good physique, all these things. So I'd say you train about 3 to 6 times a week. By the way, I have a YouTube video about this, several actually, so I won't go too much in depth here, although you can go very in depth for the sake of time. And make sure to watch those videos if you want to learn more about training. So train 3 to 6 times a week. Train your muscles at least twice a week. So train your chest, tris, and shoulders, which is push, at least twice a week. Same for back, legs, whatever. Make sure to warm up always. If you don't have a gym or don't have money for one, just do calisthenics at home, push-ups, pull-ups, squats, sprints, all that good stuff. Make sure to do cardio, obviously. I'd say around 100 minutes of zone 2 cardio per week. You can do more, you can do less. Train 2 to 3 things per day. What I mean by this is people often train push on Monday, pull on Tuesday, legs on Wednesday. That is pretty stupid. You can train push and legs on Monday, and then you can train pull and core, or pull and go for a run on Tuesday. Because if you're training for over an hour, training a 2-hour push workout, you're overtraining it, and it'll take you longer to recover than if you did a shorter 1-hour workout and you paired it with something else like legs, and you can hit more frequency without having to rest so long, which is actually better for muscle growth and for strength development. Obviously, stretch before you train. You can stretch after. Do compound movements most of the time, but you can always add isolations if you want. Like, for example, I usually do, like, say, dips, right? Or maybe if I want to, I could do bench press or overhead press. Those are good compound movements. But then at the end of my workout, I sometimes do lateral raises to grow my shoulders. So for the same workout thing, so say a push workout, train light one day of the week, train very hard the other day of the week. If you're doing more than 2 workouts, which I would say 3 workouts is the most optimal, add a third day should be moderate to hard intensity, kind of like the second day. Now, these days don't have to be in the order I told you to, just mix them up. So it's what works. Now we're going to talk about the diet. Your diet should be animal-based, super clean. A lot of people talk about these healthy protein bars, healthy protein shakes. Most of it, 95% of these healthy protein shakes are BS. They have protein in them. Maybe they even have good sources of protein, but they still have food coloring, flavoring, sugar, which is horrible. All these things, horrible for your testosterone. So go on the animal-based diet. What would this look like? Imagine this. What could a caveman eat? Go 1,000 years back in time, and whatever those people could eat, you can eat that. It's pretty clean. In addition to that, you can take creatine, which I don't take, or some protein powders that are unflavored, which I haven't really experimented with, because I already have enough protein from my diet. So if you're trying to bulk up and get stronger, even if you're cutting, you should aim for 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. It sounds like a lot, but it works. And if you start to get constipated, which is what people often think happens when you eat too much protein, which can occur, but if you eat too much protein, like way too much, if you get constipated, it's super simple. Just eat more fruits. Also, eat single ingredient foods. If I gave you a protein bar, it'd have 30 ingredients. If I gave you an apple, it would have 1 ingredient, which is cleaner. The apple. What's cleaner? A steak or a vegan patty? The steak, because it only has 1 ingredient. Most people would want to bulk up if you're skinny, but if you're pretty fat, I'd recommend to do intermittent fasting instead of just a caloric deficit, because a caloric deficit causes you to actually lose a bit of muscle and strength. And if you're in the growing stages of life, it can maybe even stunt your growth a little bit. If you're bulking, still eat clean. People go on dirty bulks. That's extremely stupid. Eat clean if you're bulking. Just eat more of the clean stuff. And spam cardio, because you don't want to get a fat gut when you're bulking. You want to bulk up in lean muscle, not fat, obviously. Now we're going to talk about testosterone. I have a super long video about this where I explain the stuff. I'm still going to teach you everything about testosterone that I know, or most of the stuff I know, but I'm not going to explain it. I'm just going to breeze through it. So avoid soy, avoid seed oils, avoid trans fats, avoid unwhole foods like donuts or ice cream, avoid artificial sweeteners, avoid BPA, which is basically plastic, which is a type of estrogenic, like some of the things I listed earlier. Avoid plastic in general. Like, don't drink out of a plastic water bottle unless you have no choice. Avoid polyester and unnatural clothing. This shirt I'm wearing, it is 100% cotton. So wear natural fibers, so stuff like cotton or wool or linen. But wool is very expensive, so I'd stick to cotton if I were you. Avoid non-stick pans, avoid cooking spray, avoid tap water, avoid painkillers if possible. And most medications are trash. So if you can avoid these medications and painkillers, I'd definitely recommend it. But if you have to take it, just take it. Avoid benzophenone. It's the ingredient that's in the sunscreen, and it is extremely bad for your testosterone. Avoid sunscreen. Most soap is really bad for you, so try to get a plant-based soap or something. Those are pretty good, and use it sometimes. Avoid self-hate. Low self-esteem is bad for testosterone. If you're getting bullied, try to avoid that. That also ruins testosterone. Avoid stress, avoid receipts, and avoid your phone radiation. Your phone has a 10 centimeter radiation radius. So keep it away from your reproductive organs, right? So keep it at least 10 centimeters away, so you don't fry your testosterone. Use stable fats for cooking, like butter, tallow, or ghee. Use metal water bottles. Use cotton clothing like this. Drink spring water. Go in shade. So people say you're going to get sunburnt without sunscreen. If you're getting sunburnt, just go in the shade, because sunscreen is pretty bad. Use natural plant-based soap. Try to keep your cool, because if they get hot, it basically fries your testosterone. Eat eggs. Eggs are great for testosterone. Eat a lot of red meat, carrots, leafy greens, oranges, potatoes, liver, kefir, fatty fish. These are all great for testosterone. Do cold showers in the morning. Do 3 sets of 10 squats, because those are actually pretty good for prostate health. Sleep well, obviously. Get sunlight 30 minutes 3 times a week, if not more, exposing your body to the sun. It's actually best to expose your full body, but I can't really do that because people like my family's gonna be like, what are you doing? So I just take my shirt off. You want to have an active lifestyle and do 3 sets of 30-second sprints, and you want to fight men. That sounded really weird, but just join some martial arts or just wrestle with your buddies. That's great for testosterone. Now, for looks maxing, people are really into this. I don't really know a lot about looks maxing. I watched very few videos on that, and I'm not very good at that. But here's what I can teach you. You want proper tongue posture, so like this. Suction your mouth like that when you're not talking. Nose breathe, obviously. You want proper walking posture, so you want to have proper feet. You don't want to have duck feet, or you don't want to have like flat feet like I used to have. There's something called thumb pulling. There's this guy called Oscar Patel who can teach you. Basically, go against the wall. Do that. I haven't really done it. I've done it in the past for like a week, but I think it works pretty well. I don't know. I haven't done it enough to be able to verify if it does work. You should have a lean body fat to get those hollow cheeks, which I don't have, unfortunately. I'm too fat. So yeah, there's this guy called Oscar Patel, which if you want to learn about looks maxing, you can check him out, because I'm not a great source for looks maxing. Obviously train your neck and your traps, makes you look more manly. Take care of your skin, try to fight that ugly acne. Keep a well trimmed appearance. You don't want ugly hair. You don't want to have that like ugly trashy beard that looks like you're homeless, right? So take care of your appearance. Yeah. So for NoFap, now, when you're trying to do this, you need a solid reason, because you will be very tempted at some points. And if your reason is something like get girls, that's your reason for doing NoFap, that is not enough of a solid reason. Your reason should be something extremely, extremely important, because if you don't have a solid foundation for doing this, then you're going to collapse. You won't succeed. This is very important. You have to pray daily. A lot of people that talk about this, they don't include the prayer part. This is something I've noticed has helped me a ton. When I pray, I'm way less tempted. Like, the temptations are very minor. Remove any triggers you have. So if you're in your room chilling and there's nobody home, or somebody's like downstairs or whatever, and you're in your room and you're scrolling, this is a dangerous situation. If you're gonna scroll, do it somewhere else, in your family room or whatever. Ideally, you wouldn't scroll though. If you're gonna be on your phone doing whatever, do it somewhere else, or have your door open, or have somebody in your room with you, maybe like your sibling or your friend, just like chilling. They can be scrolling too, but this way you won't, fall into a temptation. So remove any triggers you might have. This is pretty cool, pretty helpful. Not many people have access to this, but if you can, try to have some accountability friends in real life. And if not in real life, at least like in online communities of people that are like-minded like you. Progressively deload as well. It's very hard for you to do this cold turkey. So what you should do is you should say, let's say you watch things you shouldn't, and you goon to things you shouldn't, about, let's just say, once a day, every week, right? Every day. So now let's make it, instead of 7 times a week, let's make it 5 times a week. This sounds messed up, but just listen to me, right? After a short time, make it 3 times, 2 times, and then make it like never, once you're strong enough. Stronger willpower, right? Stronger willpower, sorry about that. Now, to improve your personality, your brain, basically, all these things, read books. I'll tell you some of them in a second. Read classical books, read books like about like economics, that stuff. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. How to Win Friends, Influence People, same author. How to Talk to Anybody by some girl named, her last name is Lowndes. Leadership, Execution, David Goggins, Stay Hard. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. These types of books, they will make a difference. Also, you want to read books, but you also want to surround yourself with people like you. Now, most people, maybe you don't have friends like this, which most people don't. What you can do is you can watch people that are like you, right? So maybe listen to influencers you want to be like. You want to have their personality or their virtues. Well, personality is your own thing, but you can kind of improve your brain, maybe your personality a bit, become a funnier guy, a nicer guy, a more nonchalant or chill guy, right? So surround yourself with the people you want to be more like. Also, your personality, your brain, it's going to improve when you improve other things of your life, you know? You're going to do research about the gym. You're going to learn a lot, bro. You're going to, other things like sleep, you're going to learn. You're going to improve your knowledge. More than personality, your knowledge, you know? Now, to become extroverted, I need you to know, I used to be extremely introverted in the past. I have friends, and around my friends, I'm like kind of extroverted, but with people I'm not friends with, I used to be pretty introverted. And just recently, I was able to improve a lot, right? I'm still not super extroverted, but I'm getting there. So, this is what I've learned. I used to read books. Those books I told you about, 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken, are about talking to people, you know, little things, how to get along, or 3 books are, right? How to get along with people better, make eye contact with them, remember their name, shake their hands like this way or whatever, ask them about themselves, talk about them, what are you up to this week? What are you doing? What do you do for fun? Right? And I would watch videos and podcasts. Here's what I learned. For about a year, I was watching these videos, reading these books, learning. I didn't learn anything because I was never doing anything. These are all BS. Let me show you something. Last school year, on my notebook where I, write down what I have going on, the workout of the day, the tests, homework, I wrote down on half of the paper what I learned from one of these books, It's one of the things I learned. I had a little checkbox for each day of the week. One of them is less criticism, more praise, nourish other people's self-esteem, make people the same goal you want, make them want it through their benefits, be sincerely interested in other people, real smiles, like 30 things. Guess how many boxes I checked? 0, because I was introverted. I was talking to my friends, but that doesn't count. That's kind of cheating, right? And it's because I didn't have these 3 things I learned over time that you need, because you will not be social if you don't have these 3 things. The 3 things you need is to be energetic, so people like you, be confident in yourself, and you need balls to do it. You need to have the guts to do this, right? You see a group of guys or some people, you say, you walk up to them, yo, what's up, guys? What's your name? My name is this. What's your name? Oh, nice to meet you, bro. Oh, what you guys talking about? Oh, I also play that sport, or I watched that movie too. Oh, I haven't seen that movie. It's really interesting. Yeah, I usually watch these type of movies. Whatever. You have to be energetic. You have to have energeticness, whatever, right? And also, when you talk to people, you kind of have to turn off your brain. This is gonna sound weird. Like, if you're really shy, scared of talking to people, if you see somebody you want to talk to, turn off your brain and just turn off your brain, right? If you think you see somebody over there and you say the thought of talking to them pops up, don't think about anything else. Just sit, you're just chilling. You see somebody, the thought shows up, just start walking towards them. Don't think of what you're gonna say, because you'll overcomplicate stuff. Yeah, you're gonna suck, but this is normal, right? You suck at first, you get better over time. Don't even think about anything, just do it. Start walking, don't think, just act, okay? And over time you'll get better. And you kind of have to retard max when you socialize with people, if you're a shy guy. Just forget about anything that matters, right? Just walk up to people, say what's on your mind. What's up, bro? What's your name? Nice to meet you. Oh, this is pretty cool. You're here or whatever. What are you up to? Cool. Oh, damn, bro, you got veins. You hit the gym? Oh, yeah. Cool. Sick, bro. What you hit today? Oh, really? I hit chest today. Oh, same. Scale. What's your bench? Right. Stuff like that. It shifted towards the gym, but like, just make it natural. Oh, you go to this school? I have a buddy who goes to that school. Stuff like that, right? So here's what I'm going to say. Don't really listen or read books or listen to podcasts or videos teaching you how to be more social, how to socialize, be extroverted. Maybe some, but most are a waste of time. You gain a lot of knowledge from them, but it's like the 20% of things. You're putting 80% effort into these 20% of things that will help you, which is like these little minor things. The big 80% that requires maybe not 20% of effort, but 20% of knowledge is to just be confident. Be confident in yourself. People laugh at you, be like, "What? Who are you laughing at, bro?" Like, don't let that bother you or something. All right, be energetic and have the guts to do it, obviously. Because if you don't have these three things, you're not going to talk to anybody. No matter, you could be a communication expert and you wouldn't have the guts to do it or the energy to do it. So once you get good at talking to people, that's when you can watch YouTube videos or read books teaching you how to become better at socializing. See ya, bro. I hope this was extremely helpful. This is a super long video. It took me 30 minutes to record. It'll probably be 20 to 25 minutes once I edit it. And respect to you, bro, for watching it till the end. Most people got bored and clicked off. If you watched it to the end, then you're already better than 99% of people here watching this because you stuck through. Good luck, bro. Stay disciplined. If you got any questions, ask me. And yeah, see ya.